Hello, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. This morning we have Kentucky Tavern, introduced in 1903, 80 proof. Well, both of these are 80 proof, okay? Introduced in 1903, age 3 years, Kentucky. There's a lot of glare here. It's still dark, but I see the sky's starting to look blue, so dawn is breaking. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's one of the old-time brands, I guess. Been around over 100 years. Bottled by Glenmore Distillery of Louisville, Kentucky. Glenmore is owned by Sazerac Company. I don't think it is distilled in Louisville, though. It says bottled. It is distilled in down the highway, up the highway, I guess, up the highway in Frankfort, Kentucky at Buffalo Trace. It's a Buffalo Trace brand. You can look on either the Buffalo Trace website and it'll say our brands and you can click there, or you can look under the link I provided, greatbourbons.com. If you type in greatbourbons.com, it'll list this. James Thompson was the founder of the Glenmore Distillery in Owensboro, Kentucky. And then it says right there, we love to hear from our customers. 1-866-729-3722, the Sazerac, Sazerac.com. Okay, so it's a Sazerac brand because Sazerac owns Buffalo Trace. And they own Glenmore. And they said on the website very clearly, because there's a rundown of all their distilleries. They say Glenmore is only used as a bottling plant to date. They don't distill anymore there. I think they age whiskey there. Maybe some barrel houses and bottle. I know they bottle. Okay, well, anyway. Rich history, Glenmore. You can find some old ads for KT, Kentucky Tavern, on the internet. I bought this at Dorgnac's, this heavy 1 liter bottle for $10.99. Great deal, huh? K16104, Kentucky, 2016, the 104th day. I think I bought it in 2016 too. Maybe it was early, I don't remember. It doesn't matter, early 2017. It has a nice glass though. It sounds nice. This glass is thick, it's heavy. Almost like a chime. All right. And we're going up against a new whiskey. Speckled Tail American whiskey, made in the USA by Caribbean Distillers. This is a 750 milliliter bottle. It was $10.79. So the Kentucky Tavern is a much better value because you're getting a liter for $10.99, and I paid 20 cents less, but I got 25% less whiskey. See, that's a regular sounding bottle. You know, regular glass sound that you hear on 40-ounce bottle of beer and most whiskey. Doesn't have that chime sound. Anyway. This is aged 4 years or more. So if it came out on the market in 2017, that means they started aging it probably in Indiana, where they probably distilled it. I say probably because I don't know. I suspect in 2013 they started aging it. So anyway, it's a unique bottle too. It's got that bulb top. It pours real easy out of the bottle. If you just pour it, it doesn't really go glug, glug, glug. It just pours. No age statement. So that's telling us at least 4 years as by requirement. It doesn't. I'm looking at Kentucky Tavern, but I'm thinking about Speckled Tail. It doesn't say bourbon. It says American whiskey. Well, what does that tell us? Okay, they're aging it in used bourbon barrels. Economize. lots of companies economize. Not only do the bourbon companies sell their barrels to beer companies and Scotch and Irish whiskey companies to use, and the Scotch, they might use those barrels for 100 years. They said on their websites, I've read these Scotch websites, we use these barrels for 100 years. And in America, they do the same thing. But for a whiskey to be classified a bourbon, it has to be in a new barrel, And if it's straight bourbon, it has to be at least 2 years aged. John Anili says, good morning, Ron. Good morning, John. It was fun last night. That went on an hour, but we had so much to say. And had good comments. And then I'm going to post some videos after this. I already did the Natural Light Revisited, which was fun to do. And then my daughter wanted to do Irish beers because of St. Patrick's Day coming up. I don't really like to do themed videos like that because they're time specific, say like St. Patrick's Day. But like I said, somebody might be watching the video in November 23rd, 2023. So there's no relationship to the time, you know, they're recorded. Like I watch videos all the time. People say, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas time. I'm doing Christmas beers. But the video's from 2013, you know, so, but she wanted to. And I said, okay. And so we did a taste test, Guinness versus Murphy's, but it was a botched taste test, botched on my part. She bought the Murphy's stout in the can, nitro can. And I went and bought Guinness in the bottle, which is 5.6% alcohol. Not nitro widget, not with the nitro widget treatment. So it didn't really make a lot of sense. We tried to do it blind, but then you couldn't really do it blind because with the nitro widget, you could taste that, you know, that you can't get around that creamy mouthfeel, you know, that foam, you could feel it. And then the Guinness foam dies right away. So I said, oh, well, we just gave up on that. But we had a good time drinking them and talking about them. Now, if we'd have done regular Guinness draft against Murphy's, it would have been an actual challenge. Still in all, not a great challenge. But I'm saying I don't know. We'll try to restage that one day. But that was a lot of fun. And it went on for 18 minutes, so that could be a problem. Some people say, oh, no, not that. And then, but of course, no one's compelled to watch, right? You don't have to watch. And then we did an Irish whiskey. Well, that's only about 8-minute video. Irish whiskey called Drumcastle. We were blown away by that. I mean, we could not get over it. It was just, you can see when you watch the video. I might post it today or wait a few days. It doesn't matter. We were blown away by it, really. I mean, it was shocking, but let's go on with this. Yes, I had a great time examining Cuddy Sark. Sure was fun. John says, seemed like the Speckled Tail is marketed more towards Jack Daniels drinkers. Yeah, obviously, because they're putting it on the shelf, right? They probably told Walmart. They probably said, approach Walmart, or maybe Walmart approached them, right? And said, or whoever, what they said, well, let's make a whiskey that's a cheap alternative to Jack Daniels. So try to make it taste like Jack Daniels and age it around 4 years, just like Jack Daniels. Make a black label with white lettering like Jack Daniels. The bottle doesn't look anything like Jack Daniels, though, really. But I mean, it's pretty obvious. They put it on the shelf right next to JD. And they must have been working on that for about 4 or 5 years. But I got to say, they pulled it off in an exemplary manner because it really tastes good. So, well, one is gold and amber, and one is just like copper amber. You know, like I thought Speckled Tail is darker. Well, it's aged a year longer, so that makes sense. Same kind of alcohol eggs, like a sheet instead of drips, but it will drip if I let it sit there. Yeah, it's starting to drip down. Look like little fence posts or fence slats. Will I be able to tell them apart? Yes, I do believe. There won't be a sourdough thing going on because neither one of these is sour mash. And I know, just to cut you off, beat you beat you to the turn in the road. People might say, yeah, well, sour mash doesn't give it a taste. It's just a priming method to do whiskey in a more efficient manner. Dr. James Crow pioneered that. I know, but it still seems to have a sourdough taste. It's like people will say, including me, I've said it, rice doesn't make beer taste different, and corn doesn't make the beer taste different because it's just a filler. But it does have it does make a difference. You can tell those rice beers. And I've even seen websites where they say rice has no flavor. Oh, no, that's wrong. Rice has a flavor. It's not a strong flavor, but it's a distinct flavor. I've eaten boiled rice. When we were little, we would have boiled rice. My mother would just make, boiled rice with a little salt to give it flavor and put butter on it. And we'd have like peas and then maybe roast beef. That'd be dinner. So, and people have said that's Yankee food. People up north eat rice with butter. No one in the South eats that. I say, well, I know some people in the South that eat it. My family. I mean, yeah, most people down here, if they boil rice, they eat rice with everything. Rice pudding, Rice Krispies, jambalaya, then red beans and rice, white beans and rice, gumbo on rice, beef stew on rice, potato stew on rice. It's just like what people love to eat. But it has a flavor. Now, so that's not going to be a fact. See, I talked enough to mix it up. That's not going to be a factor, okay? It's going to be two things. Sazerac, their house style, Buffalo Trace, Sazerac, Barton Distilling, Barton 1792 Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. They tend to have a higher rye content than your average whiskey from my experience. So you might have a sharper rye spice. And the Speckled Tail had a noticeable charred oak flavor a la Jack Daniels, right? So I think that'll be, I got to make sure I don't glance though, because one is darker. Canada Dry Hand says, have you tried Scotch yet? Yep. I have 2 videos posted already for Scotch. 3 now. I have Clan McGregor from 2017, Cutty Sark from 2 days ago, and then Examine Cutty Sark from last night. So yes, I have, and I like it. Staunch Risk indicated rice and gravy. Right. Okay, so here we go. The aroma commonly associated with whiskey with charcoal, wood. So same thing, but this one has a seems to have more of a cornbread, corn grits aroma, bourbon. But the Speckled Tail is essentially a bourbon, but not certified bourbon because of the used barrels. People will say bourbon has to be aged a certain amount of time. Actually, that's not true. You could age it for 1 hour and it could be bourbon. It'd be clear. No one would buy it. They'd say, that ain't bourbon, that's moonshine. But you could get a certificate. It'd be bizarre. You could make that, oh, somebody's going to steal my idea. White bourbon, clear bourbon. Couldn't be straight bourbon, but could be bourbon. Look at the regulations. They're very clearly spelled out. You could even have it 49% grain neutral spirits and age it 1 hour and call it, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, white gold bourbon, right? A novelty item, a blend. That's all you have to say. White gold bourbon, a blend, 51% straight bourbon whiskey. Oh wait, it has to be straight bourbon whiskey, huh? If it's a blend, right? Okay, well, maybe you couldn't do that. Okay, let me think about that. Oh, well, you could make, okay, white gold bourbon whiskey. Okay. All right. I wouldn't. Well, maybe I'd buy it if it was $8. It would be probably very bad. No age. Clear. But it's bourbon because you aged it for 1 hour in a charred oak barrel, new, never before used. I mean, there's a lot of flim-flam stuff on the market anyway, right? Like a bunch of junk novelty items, gimmicks. Yeah, you know, so why not do that? Smells nice. Whatever it is. Smells nice. Whatever it is. This one's more difficult than I thought. Taste. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. This one's got to be Kentucky Tavern, and this has to be Speckled Tail because this one over here has got a much stronger charcoal burn. It's a stronger charcoal presentation. It has more burn too, by the way, but it's like harsher in the taste. I'm sorry, bold in the taste. Yeah, this one's a lot mellow and tastes lighter. I think I even glanced at it and it was lighter, but I mean, I'm not sure. What time is it? Okay, I'll mix them up one more time, but I think I'm pretty sure. I should have checked before I mixed them up again, right? I'm going to check the comments. Hold on. Whew. Whew. See, that one's just sweeter. It's sweeter, more sugary, but a lot of corn. Lot of corn. Lot of corn. Got an interesting rye note. Must be Kentucky Tavern. That's got to be Speckled Tail. Well, let's check. Haha, you're wrong. That's Kentucky Tavern. Well, I did say when I did the aroma test that it was going to be a challenge. Oh boy. Yikes. Yes, they are. Okay. I got it wrong, people. Yeah, this one's dark. Well, at least you know it wasn't cheating. You might say, no, you staged that. You cheat. Some people that don't like me would say, you staged that. You cheated on purpose just so that you could get it wrong and then try to make credibility. Like sometimes you get them wrong so that people would believe all your other staged events. Yeah, okay. Sure. Are these regulations posted online somewhere? Yes, and I'm going to give you the link in a moment. I'm even going to look them up. Sometimes if you look up too many things, it'll kick you offline, though, on the wonderful Microsoft Edge. John and Neely says, white gold bourbon. Now, that's an idea. There's definitely a market for that type of product. I know, huh? You know people would buy it. Somebody's probably developing it as we speak. And the funny thing about it, they could actually put it on the market by this weekend. You know what I mean? Well, nah, I guess they'd have to. Never mind. I mean, I forgot about the regulations, right? You gotta develop a label. You gotta have a bottle. Then you gotta submit the label to the U.S. government. They gotta approve it. Then you gotta get the trademark request. That's gotta be approved. Then you gotta go through all these legal difficulties, then you can put. So it probably takes a year, yeah, to get it on the market. And you say, well, those regulations protect the consumer. Yeah, mainly they protect big companies and keep small companies out of the market because it's so expensive to comply with the regulations. It's not worth it for a lot of small companies, so they don't bother. Same with beer. Beer regulations don't protect you, the consumer. It protects, and I have people rant and rave against me all the time about, you're a defender of the corporate giants. Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, Coors, Miller, and Pabst. I'm not really a defender of them. But those big companies love the regulations because they got money, they can comply, and it keeps the little man out. We did a whole video about the 3-tier system. That is designed to keep the little man out. Now, if I was a defender of corporate giants, seems to me I'd be on the internet just promoting regulations all day, right? Not free enterprise. That goes against the corporate dominance in my viewpoint. So, oh well, I don't know, I'm worried about it. Like Greenleaf was saying, I'm baffled, or he said something along those lines. Can't remember the terminology used. I'm baffled, or it's mind-boggling. He said every time you say that, you started these video reviews simply because he said to defend a corporate giant, Budweiser, and because people look down on me for drinking bland regular beer. Well, that's actually not the case. I tried to communicate this to people for the last 7 years, 8 years. It was not to defend Budweiser. I don't care about Budweiser. I am indifferent to Budweiser, okay? It was to defend the idea of putting things in context. That's what it was about. If you get on there and say Budweiser is bland and it's a C because it's average and you could take it or leave it, fine. That makes sense. It was because of the people saying that it was trash, garbage, and the scum of the earth. Now, his defense for his viewpoint is that if you look at Beer Advocate, Rate Beer, Untapped, the vast majority of the people are going to give Budweiser a horrible score. I understand that, but look who's on there making the writing the comments. The average Budweiser drinker ain't going to get on Untapped, Rate Beer, and Beer Advocate and write reviews because they don't care about that. They're not hobbyists, okay? They drink it. They don't sit there and study it. So you're getting a very skewed viewpoint because you got all the beer snobs, right? They all gonna do their, they're all gonna have their comments and they're all gonna. So then it's not a accurate picture. And then the accusation against me oftentimes is, oh, all you do is look at sales. That's all you care about, sales. Well, I think sales matter. Right? I mean, this is a factor in looking at beverages, sales, or sandwiches. You say, oh, McDonald's. Well, I know, but okay, it ain't the greatest hamburger in the world. But I'm pretty sure people knew that when McDonald's first got started, 20 years after they started, 40 years, 50 years, until today. This is not news to anybody, okay? People say that like it's some news to us. Like, a Big Mac ain't the greatest burger. This is news to us. We don't know this. We're not aware of that fact. And then they'll say, so bringing up their sales volume is irrelevant. It is not irrelevant. Okay? People buy it. I mean, they don't hate it. They don't buy it because they hate it. They don't say, oh, I hate a Big Mac. It's garbage. Let me go buy some. They don't say, oh, Budweiser, that is trash. Let me buy a case. See, that's what I'm trying to talk about. Because Tom the Beer Whisperer always brings that up. He'll say, But he won't talk to me anyway. But he says, oh, people that say, like, let's say like Budweiser, let's use that iconic. People that say Budweiser, blah, 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 is like saying a Big Mac is a quality burger. But my viewpoint to him is who the hell ever says that? You know what I'm saying? Who says that? Who says a Big Mac is a great burger? I don't know anybody who, I've literally never heard anybody say that. Okay, anyway, get off the rant and rave. I think Jim Beam makes a product called Ghost Whiskey, but White Gold sounds much better. Yeah. I got to rename my channel The House of Ideas. Canada Dry Hands. If you want good scotch, try Glenmorangie, the original. I think he's having trouble spelling. It's not too expensive. I would try that. I would try it. Cameo or Samio says, got to cover all fields regardless of branding. Though brand loyalists out there always got something to say. A lot of rapier and all that. Oh, I mean, you know, there's no doubt about brand loyalty, man. John says, sales are the best indication of what people actually drink. So people that make arguments hating on certain products are usually wrong. I think so. Dilly Dilly says beer snobbery. Yeah, I think it's beer snobbery. And it's, I know some people that admit that they're a whiskey snob or a beer snob. They'll just tell me I'm a beer snob. I hate on products and I'll admit it. Well, at least they admit it. You know, they will admit it. And I asked them, do you look down on people that drink things like Budweiser? Yes, I do. Now they're honest. They'll say, yes, I do. And I might ask them, do you look down on me for drinking Budweiser occasionally? Yes, they would look down on me. At least they're honest, you know. Oh, but Greenleaf was saying, oh, and you started the channel because, what do you say? Because people look down on me for drinking bland beer. I don't, in my whole life, in my regular life, you know, the real world, not the internet world, I don't remember anybody ever looking down on me for drinking anything. Oh, well, maybe if I bought like Surefine soft drinks, you know, the store brand. My aunt might have said, why are you buying that? You know, because they only buy brand name stuff. And honestly, that stuff's really no good. I don't even like soft drinks. So to me, it's all of it's no good. Now I know why I never felt good for 25 years. I was drinking soft drinks, Coke. Now you say, oh, well, now you're drinking alcohol, so you feel better? Yeah, actually, I do. If I drink 4 beers today, and that'll be all, the whole day, 4, in a 24-hour period, and I drink no cola, oh, I feel a lot better. Way better, man. And that's the truth. Now, I can only speak for me. I don't speak for other people. I don't suggest things to other people like you should drink alcohol. I don't say that. I'm not saying you shouldn't either. But I do feel better. Literally, I feel healthier drinking alcohol than when I was drinking soft drinks. Now, that is the truth. I have no reason to lie. Samio says, or a spoiled or light exposed bottle. Oh, yeah, that stuff's. He says those 0 overall scores out of 100 or something like PBR. I can't help but shake my head because I've tasted beers that might be worthy of a 10, but a 0 is like opening a can of air or a light exposed bottle. Corn syrup. And then Staunch Wrist says corn syrup is corn syrup. Laugh out loud. Yeah. Actually, it isn't because there's the corn syrup you can buy at the grocery store like Cairo if you're going to do some baking. And I'm not sure if that's high fructose corn syrup. It might be. I'd never really bothered checking it. But then the beer companies don't use Cairo, okay? They use they use brewer's syrup, dextrose maltose. And it literally is odorless and tasteless, they claim. And it's used as a filler. Okay, so you can't go to the store and buy that. Now, you might be able to go to a homebrew shop and get it. You probably can get the brewer's syrup at a homebrew shop, okay? But you ain't going to go to Winn-Dixie or Walmart and buy brewer's syrup, okay? They don't even sell it. I don't think they sell it in little bottles. But anyway, what do I know about home brewing? Not much. I have tasted home brews. And by the way, the ones I tried were excellent. Excellent. I've had people say, why don't you do some reviews of my home brew? I've always avoided that because what's the point of doing that? Right? Think about it. Oh, here's a home brew. It's wonderful. You can't get it. You'll never see it. So, I mean, what's the point? You can't buy it. Why would you want to watch a review for something you can't ever get? I mean, I don't see the sense behind it. It's almost pointless to do these obscure Louisiana craft beers, really. Think about it. Oh, here's this obscure beer from NOLA Brewing, which is not even on their website, which I've seen once at a store in my life, which they only produce maybe a handful of cans. The Revivalist, that's coming up. Oh man, it's so good. I like it. It's really balanced. It's got a lot of flavor. It's bitter, but not too bitter. It's sweet, but not too sweet. I give it an A-, whatever, you know, blah, blah, go through the whole thing. And you watching it, you say, oh, I like your flowers. I like those areas. This spring is warming in Louisiana. Yes, it is. That's enjoyable talk. I understand that. But then what's the point of doing the beer, right? You can't get it. You probably never see it. Heck, most people in Louisiana can't get it. So there's a strong argument against reviewing obscure things. These are major brands. Well, Speckled, I'm not too sure about that. Kentucky Tavern, yes, a major brand. There's a point to reviewing it because then other people can access it, try it, buy it, try it, talk about it, and give us their viewpoint. And that's the reason for the video reviews, okay? To try a product, give your opinion, and then see what other people think. And, you know, talk, banter, whatever. All right? Was never to defend a Budweiser, whatever you might believe. It was to defend the idea of looking at things within context and to have some rational viewpoint of a product. That was what it was about. Yeah. Give you an example. Chad Poland's Beer Reviews. He gave a fair assessment of Budweiser, okay? He won't talk to me because he got mad when for two reasons. I told him that his review of Milwaukee's Best was a faulty review because he called it a trash beer before he ever tried it. See, it's not a review. That's a slam. He told me I was on my period. I need to go get a tampon. See, that was a bad response because it shows me that I was pressing the right button because he knew it was a slam and he couldn't defend it. Then later on, we kind of made up, and then he got angry again at me because I told him that Gary Johnson was a fake candidate in the sense that Gary Johnson claimed he was a libertarian, but he didn't take libertarian positions. And he said, what do you mean? And I gave him very clear reasons why Gary Johnson was a very bad libertarian candidate. And he said, I'm done. And he unfriended me and wouldn't talk to me anymore. I'm sorry. I mean, politics is politics. And if you're following a bad candidate and you can't take the heat, then why? And I always rant about that. People post these things on Facebook and it's like they're daring you to disagree about politics. I said you need to put a disclaimer. Here's my political position. Warning, if you disagree with me in any way, I will unfriend you because apparently all this is about me and so I don't know. I don't get that kind of thinking. I can't put my head around it, as we like to say on the street. Doesn't make any sense to me. If you put something on Facebook, you obviously want attention, right? I mean, why would you not put it? Well, you're putting it there because you want attention. That's why people get on Facebook. Everybody wants attention, right? Like little kids say, I want attention. They want attention. You put something. And then look at Facebook. People always or oftentimes post provocative things. You know what I mean? Something that's obviously designed to incite emotion or get people riled up. Fine. But then people disagree and it's a big old problem. It's like, why is this a problem? Now, people have accused me of deleting comments that I didn't agree with, but that's not true. Wrong. I deleted comments that were straw man comments, which are designed to take the conversation in a different area that is not related to the topic. And and the people that did that, I warned them. I said, you are posting straw man comments and you've got to stop it. Because I did a serious political thing. Obviously, I wanted response, right? Okay. Like might have been about, let's say, I don't know, Ferguson, you know what happened in Ferguson, Missouri with the shooting. Okay. All right. That comment, that post was about that. So then they start, Canadian Dry Hand said Facebook is toxic. Now, Facebook is not really toxic. It's the people on there that are toxic because they can't, it's kind of like these video reviews. They cannot look at things correctly. Like they have this bizarre idea of how things are supposed to be. Social media posting has been historically referenced as ego casting. Yeah, I agree with that. So it's like, and I'm going to shut this down because this was turning into something else. But let's get to this real fast. I couldn't tell them apart. They're not that different from each other, honestly. One is a real bourbon. One is technically not a bourbon, although in reality it really is in a practical sense. They taste very similar. And so why would I ever dream of buying Speckled Tail for $10.79 when I can get a whole liter of Kentucky Tavern for $10.99? Obviously. So who wins? Obviously, Kentucky Tavern wins by default. Does price matter? It matters to me. May not matter to you. But if I'm getting two items that are essentially identical and they're the same price, but one is a 25% bigger bottle, common sense tells you what I'm going to buy. Now, getting back to the Facebook issue, I didn't want to join at first back in 2010 because my impression of Facebook was that it was all about like Farmville. I used to hear these women at work talking about it all the time. Farmville, Farmville. They play that little game on their phone. I said, why would I want to get on there and play a game about a farm? And they kept telling me, you ought to join Facebook. I said, I don't play those games. And then they said, no, it's a way to connect with people that you went to high school with or something. I said, I don't even talk to those people anymore. They know where I am. If they wanted to hang out with me, they could call me, right? I mean, I'm here. I didn't go anywhere. I lived in the same town. I've been in the same house for 26 years as of this month, 26 years. I didn't disappear. Oh, no, it's good. You know, I didn't want to do it. I say, no. So then my second cousin, my first cousin once removed, ascending, my mother's first cousin once removed. He told me, get on Facebook because we can all talk. Okay. I said, well, I guess so. So I got on it. And sure enough, ego casting, that's a good term, says Samio, you're right. So, okay, so I'll wrap this up. So I get on it and okay, well, sure enough, here's all these people that I knew years ago. Great. And, you know, they post pictures of their kids and family. None of these people I know. And I post pictures of me and my daughter and they don't know us, you know, in a very limited way they know us. And then my good friend, Paul, who used to do the hangouts with us, but he had to stop because the kids be climbing all over him the whole time. And all of that. So, but he doesn't contact me through Facebook. He doesn't even he's a member of Facebook. He never does anything. He hates it. He always says, why would I want to do that? That's so, the whole thing is stupid, you know. He just calls me on the phone. You know, I remember he used to call people. He doesn't text me, he calls me, you know, we talk on the phone. Like, remember when you used to talk to people? So, you say you have 700 and something friends on Facebook. I do. I have like 700 friends, and I don't know most of these people. I don't know them. Most of them use weird fake names, just like fake people, you know. And they post pictures of their family. I don't know them. And they say, I'm sick, or my grandpa's dying, pray for me. And of course, you pray for the person, but you don't know them. And then you get the hot button people, you know, like you say, ego casting. You got the liberals want to post all kind of liberal stuff. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But don't dare disagree. Don't dare do that because you'll be blocked in a moment. I mean, I don't care. I'll say something, but I usually just leave it alone now. I just say, okay, I'll just scroll past it. Because if you say something, I mean, I don't really care if they block me because I'm not gonna talk to them anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know these people. I mean, I knew them in high school, right? Am I really in real life gonna ever go hang out with them? No. So block me. I don't care. But it's comical to me, you know. It's like you do this all day long. That's all you post, all kind of stuff all day long about Donald Trump. It goes on all day. Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. I mean, it doesn't end. And just these people are obsessed with Donald Trump. They're obsessed. They're obsessed. And then I say, oh no, you're wrong about that, you know, or whatever. Oh, they go crazy, you know, they go crazy. I don't care. All right. And then they want to post racial stuff all day. Racial, all day. Everything's about race. That must be their religion. Their race is their religion. You know what I mean? Their race is their religion. Civil rights this, civil rights that. Everything's a conspiracy by white people. Everything's a corporate conspiracy. You know, everything's a religious conspiracy. These are left-wing people I'm talking about. It's funny because they talk about conspiracy theories, but that's all they talk about. The whole socialist idea is based on a conspiracy theory that rich people are in a conspiracy to keep the poor man down, you know, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. I just say, oh man, these people did. Then you got your it's usually neoconservatives, you know what I'm talking about. And then they post stuff all day about Obama. Still talking about Obama. Like, why are you still talking about Obama? This goes on all day. And then if you say something about them or what they're saying, or they get angry, you know. Now, not all of them. Like my cousin, he'll post stuff and I'll disagree, and he'll come back, but he'll let it drop. You know what I mean? He won't keep arguing just to get the last word. He'll let it drop. He knows he ain't gonna win anyway because he knows I know what I'm talking about. So why fight a losing battle, right? That's not ego casting. That's just a fact. He does not have a lot of knowledge about history and government compared to me. Now, if it's about fishing, what kind of bait to use in deep sea fishing, he's going to school me. I'm not going to fight him on that. He's going to take me apart. My experience with deep sea fishing is nothing. He knows way more about that. I would never dream of getting in an argument with him about hunting or fishing because I'm going to get schooled and embarrassed, okay? But if it's about history and government, okay, let's go. Let's battle. So that's my whole outlook on Facebook, social media. I don't mind battling. Do I post provocative things sometimes? Yes. Do I want attention? Obviously. Do I get angry? No. Do I block people? No. Do I delete their comments? No. Unless it's straw man comments. And I've warned the people about that. We're talking about a shooting in Ferguson. They won't talk about the Crusades in 1066. I'm sorry, 1099. This has literally happened. I say, well, they had a shooting in Ferguson. Let's talk about that. You know, left wing, right wing, moderate, whatever you want. Here he comes talking about, well, you know, the Christians did the Crusades and they had the, it's like, no one wants, we ain't talking about the Crusades, man. And then everybody's arguing with him for like 6 straight hours. They're back and forth, you know, going back at each other. Hey, well, screw you, you little fag. And, you know, excuse my language, but, you know, and it's back. I'll say, oh, man, what is all this? And I'm not taking up for the left wing or the right wing because they all get caught up in the, you know what I'm saying? They're getting caught up in the straw man comment. And then they're saying ugly things to each other. And I say, wow, I mean, that doesn't, and some of these conservative people, and I tend to be conservative, I'm like, oh, please don't join. Because you're going to discredit your whole position with your inane, idiotic comments, you know, and then your ugly comments toward the other people, your disrespectful, and then they go back and forth talking about their sexual preferences and how they have no taste in food. And then I say, what is all of this? John Annealy says, I agree with you. Don't post political comments publicly if you can't take the heat. Well, that's what people do. All the tinfoil hat theories come to light when there's an audience that has to hear it because it's on your feed. Most of my feed is political reports swinging all sorts of directions. Same thing here. Walking through a minefield as scrolling down. Right. I didn't even look at that yesterday. I didn't have time to scroll yesterday, thankfully. And it's the same. And then all those jokes. It's like, oh, that is not funny. It's just so stupid, you know. That's now, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I like Facebook for this reason. And I'm about to tell you the reasons. I like the groups like Alcohol Eggs. Yes, I'm promoting Alcohol Eggs because we talk about, well, guess what? Alcohol, beer, wine, liquor. And it's always fun and it's always positive. Okay? Boop, boop, boop. I drink this, you drink that, we talk about it. That's, you know, what it is. Okay. And then I like Michelle Steinberg has foodography, where people literally take photographs of food and talk about it. That's all it's about. Photos of food. If you catch an attitude, she's kicking you out the group. You don't have to like the people's food, so why are you catching an attitude? And one lady got on there and said, I don't like all these restaurant photos. It should all be homemade food. Michelle said, well, that ain't the, did you ever read the group description? It says photos of food. It didn't say it had to be homemade. So the woman quit. Good thing. She was going to get kicked. You know, so a lot of people join groups and don't read the group description and they violate the, so then I have Rock and Roll Club. What is Rock and Roll Club? What's the group description? People who like rock and roll would probably like this group. That's what I said. People who like rock and roll will probably enjoy this group. Makes sense, right? And then I just made a few rules, guidelines. No jokes, because we see enough of that garbage on Facebook. No anniversaries and no birthdays. Makes sense, right? Like, happy birthday, John Lennon. He's dead. He died in 1980. Why are you wishing him a happy birthday? Even if he was alive, why are you wishing him a happy birthday? What, is he going to come hang out with you? I hate that kind of stuff. Or, you know, inspirational posts. I say, don't put that on Rock and Roll Club. Like, Rush, the greatest band. Rush means so much to me. Rush changed my life. Good. No one wants to hear that. Okay. And it goes on and on. We can see, we're tormented with that on Facebook enough. All the inspirational posts. Like and share if you love Rush, if they change your life. Don't put that on Rock and Roll Club. So I said one good photo a day, like a historical photo. Good, good. Not a comedy photo, historical. Okay. And then 2 music posts per day. Now you get hundreds of members. You got to put the foot down because they'll post 25, 30 videos because they're drinking, you know. I know what's going on. They're drinking beer, you know, they're drinking liquor, and they start listening to music and they're getting wild. Hey, man, listen to all these Blondie songs. They were the best. And they'll post 25 videos. It's like, you just know no one is going to listen to that. Right? No one is going to listen to those 25 Blondie videos. I know Blondie inspires you. They mean a lot to you. Ain't nobody going to listen to that, okay? So then it becomes a useless group where everybody's posting 25 videos a day that no one's going to listen to. So I said, look, 2 songs a day from each member. 2 a day. And everybody can listen to everybody else's stuff. Don't have to like it. Now, one guy, he insists on posting blues music. I'm trying to figure out why he joined Rock and Roll Club. He basically says, I hate rock music, and everybody, I demand everybody listen to blues. Okay. I listen to all his posts. They're fine. I'll tell him this is the first time I heard that. First time listen for me. Then he gets angry. Don't you love it? Doesn't it inspire you? I said, not really. It's all right. I didn't delete it. John says, your logic is undeniable. Ha ha. Right. Thank you. It's not my logic. It's logic. See, logic is not, doesn't belong to a single person. It just is. It is, right? Logic is a mental exercise that anybody could entertain if they're willing to. And then they started posting all this country music, not rock. Country. Okay, I didn't delete it. some obscure country star that 10 people, you know, like, okay, same old thing. Don't you love it? Aren't you inspired by it? I say, no, but it's okay. So then I post my stuff. I've been posting Kiss every Sunday and every Thursday, a Kiss album that I own. I know here they come. It's like Budweiser, like a crucifix. Ah! Kiss! They were just a big bunch of show. They're not great music. I hate them. I said, I knew you were going to say that. I could sniff out a Kiss hater from a mile away. They could have just kept scrolling, but they can't. They got to take the bait. I said, oh, well, they are popular, so that's a strike against them. People know about them. That's a strike against them. And they have a real, they always had a real lively, high energy show that catered to their fans. That's a strike against them. And they never curse on stage or anything. That's a strike against them. And they're not like depressive music and talk about all their angry feelings about breaking up with a woman and how they were hooked on heroin. So that's a strike against them. So I can understand the hate against Kiss, but I just knew these guys were coming. They were coming, baby. And I said, it's funny because you weren't even forced to listen to it. I'm sure they didn't listen to it. But I made a dedication. I would listen to every song posted on Rock and Roll Club. Every song. And I have. And I've been exposed to a lot of interesting music. Anyway. All right. And just like the liquor stuff, beer, wine, and liquor, I've been exposed to many, many, many things I never would have tried if I hadn't gotten into the hobby. So I appreciate getting into the hobby. Oh, well, so what's coming up next? I think next we'll do Speckled Tail versus Old Crow. Oh, no. Sorry. Wild Turkey. I keep forgetting about that little bottle of Wild Turkey. Okay, so Speckled Tail versus Wild Turkey. Well, now that's going to be a fascinating taste challenge. I'm not going to talk about Facebook for 35 minutes, though. Okay. But I could, you know, it's so comical. Like, I'll give you one example. Tom, the beer whisperer. One of his friends, who's my friend, Glenn, he invited me to join a group called Drinking Whiskey. They say, this is about whiskey or any other alcohol you might want to drink. I said, okay, I'll join. Wasn't looking to join. So I made some few whiskey posts. Oh, this is a good whiskey, right? And I made some comments for other people. Oh, I like that. I've had that. Then like in 2 days, it got kicked out. So what's going on? And then people ask me, why'd you get kicked? Why'd you quit the group? I said, I didn't quit the group. And then I asked Tom, the beer whisperer. I said, why'd you kick me out the group? Because I don't like you. I don't like you. And you're racism. In other words, you know, if you're not a socialist, you're a racist, right? You know the whole liberal mindset. If you voted for Trump, you're by default a racist. You hate all black people and Jews. All right. You know how that works. All right. I said, well, you need to rename your group. Don't call it Drinking Whiskey. Call it Drinking Whiskey, except for people I don't like. See, because I have alcohol eggs. I don't have to like you for you to join my group. You just have to be interested in alcohol. It's not a personal thing. It's a real group. So that's why I say my group is a real group. In other words, if you have an interest in alcohol, you can join. I don't have to like you or dislike you or even know you. You can join. Now, can you get kicked out the group? Yeah, if you go around attacking people personally in the group, which no one has ever done. So I told him, I said, that's not a real group. It's like somebody said on this hangout here, it's an ego casting group. So you need to change the name to Drinking Whiskey, comma, except for people I don't like. And just be honest, say this is a group about me, saying, look, it's me, it's all about me. I don't get that stuff. My mind don't process that. So anyway, I have two groups on Facebook, Rock and Roll Club, Alcohol Eggs. If you hate me, you can still join. See what I mean? Just follow the guidelines. Everything will be wonderful. Anyway, the crazy world of social media makes no sense to me, but it's fun, kind of. All right, so Wild Turkey. Then we'll do the Jim Beam world. Old Crow, Then we'll do Jim Beam Original. Then we'll do the Jim Beam Choice. Then we'll go against, this is the one I've been waiting for, really. The Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Jack Daniel's No. 7, the black and green label. Okay, so what have I said about Speckled Tail? Well, it's a really good whiskey, and it can hold its own against major brands that you've heard of, and it's a really nice price point. Samuel says a solid rant. I think a lot of people would voice similar opinions, especially those that remove themselves from social media. Yeah, I always tell people, don't remove yourself, because then you're giving into the, don't give into the dark side. Don't give into the dark side. Social media does not need to be run by the bad people. The people that don't have the perspective, that do the ego casting, that do the virtue signaling, that are into it for the wrong reason. Don't give in to them. They don't need to rule this world or social media or anything. Okay? I name names, and I'm not talking bad about him. I'm just saying, I'm using him as an example of the context that I don't understand. Okay, we had a friend, look, like me and Paul had a friend, he immediately unfriended us because we voted for Trump. Actually, he didn't even know if we voted for Trump. He just assumed it was correct, but he assumed it. He went berserk. This guy really went berserk. Like the day after the election, he's screaming and hollering about all this crazy stuff. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, oh, talking about Hitler, and he's talking about I don't know, he's talking about the Holocaust, all kind of, and talking about the gay rights movement. He just went on and on. It's like, what are you talking about, man? And my friend Paul said, wait a minute. And then Paul tried to give him some logical, he said, no, we're talking about making peace in the world and deregulating the economy. And then he immediately unfriended and blocked Paul. I'm not going to talk to you Nazis. It's like, what are you talking about, Nazis? We said we support free enterprise. How would a national socialist, right, support free enterprise? That's just an example of this like insanity. But you say, oh, that's social media is toxic. No. The problem is that toxic people get on social media. You get it? If you're, and we know a lot of people in our lives that are always wound up. I mean, they're wound up. They're mad. They're always mad. They're angry. And then they deny it, so they use projection. Projection is a defense mechanism. They accuse everyone else of being toxic. You say, well, I'm just calm. I'm sitting here very calm, very calm. I'm very calm. And we're going to end that on a very calm note. Beautiful day for cutting the grass and other things. And so that's the lineup. It's going to take a few weeks, but it'll be an exciting few weeks, I do believe. So I have a lot of videos to watch today, have clothes to fold. All right. Thank you for watching this video production. Everybody take care and have a great Thursday and a wonderful weekend.